Hi guys, welcome to a video, and in today's video I just wanted to do a review of Gentleman Jack, episode 1, season 2. Oh yes, the Jack is back and my heart is under attack because of that top hat. Yes, I have a way with words. I know. So as most of you might have seen, I did in fact meet Suranne Jones at the Gentleman Jack season 2 premiere. I was invited by the BBC. Ooh, that's the first time I've ever been invited to anything like this in my entire life. I was really genuinely shocked. I say that I'm shocked, but the BBC loves lesbians, and yeah, self-explanatory really. It was a beautiful, magical night. I got to watch episode 1 of season 2 early, and I got a free Diet Coke from the bar. So you can imagine that I was on cloud 9. I was very happy, but that was not the best part. The best part of the experience, was meeting Suranne Jones. And I tell you right now, I think a lot of people think that I'm joking when I talk about having a gay stroke or a gay panic attack in front of women, but it's not a joke. When she came near me, my heart was pounding inside of my chest to the point where I was like, I think I might have a panic attack. I just have to say, she is so radiantly beautiful in person. And not only is she radiantly beautiful, she is kind and she is hilarious. I could just tell she was a kind person. We took a photo together and then she wasn't sure if it had taken properly, so she kind of double checked with me, and not everybody would do that. You know, she's a very busy woman and everybody wanted her attention, and she took the time to do that with me. And yeah, to me that just said like a lot about her character. I think she's a very kind person and she's hilarious. I was watching her play like a game with somebody who was interviewing her, and I was laughing like a simp. I was just, everything she said I was like ha ha ha. It was really embarrassing, but she's so funny. And she spoke to me and she made eye contact with me, and we all know that in lesbian terms that means we're married. So ladies, I apologize, but me and Suranne, I'm joking, that's creepy, and she's married. She's actually married, so, and it's not to me. Life is hard. I guess all we can do is get over it. That's it. Thank you, BBC, for the best night of my life. I will never forget it. I have to say, being at this premiere kind of opened my eyes to just how big an impact that this show has had, because the first thing I noticed is there were women of all ages at this premiere, and I mean very young women and, with respect, much older women, but that kind of blew my mind because it was so nice to see that kind of diversity. I think a lot of people think of fandom as, you know, something that's just for teenagers or very young people, and it's really not. It's really not. And the second thing was, there were women who had flown over from America just to be there. And I know it airs over there in the States, but I mean, the fan base is just so incredibly like present. And it's amazing, and it was so nice to meet other people, and yeah. So I had already watched episode 1 at the premiere, but to be honest, when I was watching it at the premiere, I just had stars in my eyes, and I was like, wow. And because I was like, wow. Oh, I forgot to say, Suranne Jones was sat in the same row as me when I was watching episode 1 of this season of Gentleman Jack. I forgot to say that, and I kept being like, oh my god, I love you. Anyway, I was so starry-eyed, I didn't really get a chance to kind of take it in and deconstruct it, and it would have been impossible for me to kind of give an early review. They did make me sign an NDA, but I have no idea what that said. I know it's expired now. I think they said it expires when I should read things I sign. I was laughing just as much watching it the second time around. I think the beginning of this season is great. I think it's as fresh and as funny as season 1. And I'm not just kissing ass because the BBC were nice to me. Like, you know how I feel about Gentleman Jack. I've reviewed it before I reviewed season 1. I don't know if I did a proper review. I think I was probably just like, I love this. Suranne Jones is hot. Yeah. But anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so the episode begins with Anne Lister just strolling around, power strolling around in a top hat. I mean, that is all this show is. I think when you kind of break this show down to the essentials, that is what it is. It is her power strolling around in a top hat. But that has so much appeal that it works. And I enjoy it. I enjoy it immensely. I could watch 10 hours of her power walking to that jaunty music. It's incredible. So Anne visits Miss Walker, who is Anne Walker's aunt, and Miss Walker is not a fan of our Anne. She's not. She accuses Anne of isolating Anne Walker, and especially gets tetchy when Anne brings up that Anne Walker is going to change her will. I do think Anne Walker's aunt is probably going to stir up quite a bit of trouble in this season, especially going from this first episode. There is definitely going to be some issues which stem from this in the future episodes. You can just tell the dynamic between Anne and Marion in this episode is just hilarious. I can't get enough of these two. Saran and Gemma have such great chemistry in real life, and on the screen they really kind of bounce off of one another, and they just absolutely work as a kind of comedic duo. I can't get enough of these two together. Marianne also has quite a cough in this episode, which may or may not develop into something. I'm actually not familiar with what happened to Anne Lister's sister in real life, so something could possibly develop from this cough. One thing I noticed while watching this episode is how fascinating this show is, not just in terms of lesbian history, but in terms of women's history as well, particularly in the way that Anne was a businesswoman, and businesswoman is not really the first image you get when you think of women in the 19th century, and that's probably because we're not actually exposed to a lot of women's history in that time. The only reason we know about Anne is because she recorded her own life. You know, nobody else was really recording the lives of women in this period. It's no secret that women have been consistently erased all throughout history, so the fact that Sally shines a light on the life of this woman is just another layer of why this show is so fascinating and interesting and incredible. So Mariana is pining after Anne. We can see this in her beautifully worded letters, and she's not really happy about the news of Anne and Anne Walker. You can tell from very early on in this episode that this might possibly become a problem this season. So Anne and Anne Walker reunite, and it's so romantic. Saran and Sophie just have all this incredible chemistry between them, and it's still going strong this season. It really is. There's a particularly beautiful scene in this episode where Anne Walker is doing some artwork and Anne is watching her, and there's this beautiful romantic scenery as the backdrop, and this show is so refreshing and beautiful. So there's quite an interesting conversation that happens between Anne and Tib's sister. They're basically talking about Anne's relationship with Anne Walker, and Tib's sister seems a little bit kind of dubious about the relationship. She's definitely kind of got some reservations about it, you can tell. And interestingly, in this scene, Anne implies that whilst she loves Anne Walker, that she's perhaps not really in love with her. And she talks about Mariana, who broke her heart and perhaps even lowered her expectations surrounding love and relationships. And it's interesting because we get a glimpse of how Anne is really feeling about her relationship with Anne Walker. And I don't think Anne Walker blowing hot and cold is necessarily new this season. There was, you know, quite a bit of that last season. But I think this season we're seeing the kind of toll that that's taking on Anne, and we're kind of exploring Anne's attitudes towards kind of relationships and love a little bit deeper this season, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think it's really interesting. You know, one of the areas where Anne Walker is perhaps hesitating is around altering her will, which Anne really wants her to do. You know, she wants to kind of get things moving and solidify their future. But Anne Walker is a bit more hesitant because she's not really sure how her family is going to react, and they're quite difficult to deal with, which of course upsets Anne understandably. But then we also have to remember that Anne Walker is of quite a fragile disposition and probably doesn't want to deal with all the kind of upset that comes with kind of communicating with her family. And I think Anne is understanding of this. I don't think she's pushing her beyond her limits, but at the same time you can see how this kind of bothers Anne, and you know, I do think that that creates a particular dynamic between Anne and Anne Walker. So yeah. And Anne and her mother have quite a touching conversation about Anne's relationship with Anne Walker, and again, there are doubts which are being raised here, but you can tell that Anne really wants to make it work, and she says that she has to have faith in the relationship. And we can see how difficult Anne Walker's family is, and again, like I said, said, I do think that Anne Walker's aunt is going to cause problems, especially in future episodes. She's clearly a bit of a difficult woman and she really does not like Anne. She makes her feelings about Anne Lister very clear and her disapproval of Anne Walker keeping her company, so to speak. And I definitely think this is going to cause future problems this season. So Mariana does not take the news of Anne Walker moving into Shipton very well, and that woman is on a mission. And Anne Lister was a snack, so she can't be blamed. As I say, from early on in this episode, you can see there's definitely something being set up between Mariana and Anne, and you can also see the kind of doubts around Anne's relationship with Anne Walker. And take this with a pinch of salt, but I do believe in real life that Anne Lister did actually have an affair. So if you ask me, I do think an affair is definitely on the cards. There was a Q&A with Sally Wainwright at the premiere, and she said that she didn't make anything up at all in season 2. Everything in season 2 is based on the real life of Anne Lister. So while some things are probably exaggerated just for the sake of drama, we're gonna have to wait and see how they handle the Anne and Mariana situation. Oh, and I'm excited. I know this is awful. Maybe I shouldn't say it, and I feel like no one's gonna agree with me, but I'm kind of low-key hoping that Anne and Mariana have like a steamy affair, because I would enjoy that. I'm really sorry. I know it's awful. I was gonna say it's fiction, but it's literally based on real life, and yeah, gotta take my fun where I can get it, you know? I loved episode 1. I thought it was fresh. I thought it was funny. It contained everything that I love about this show. It was incredible. Saran Jones is an angel, and Anne and Anne are beautiful together. I've seen a brief preview of what is to come, and it's gonna be spicy. It is gonna be a spicy Italian sandwich. I'm telling you, it's 19th century dyke drama. You're not gonna wanna miss this. Okay guys, thanks for watching. If you've seen episode 1, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments section below. Let me know what you think of Anne and Mariana. Do you think there's gonna be some, you know, that's because I'm thinking, if you're a lesbian, if you're a fan of Gentleman Jack, come and join the Sapphic Underground Club, because we are gonna be talking about Gentleman Jack on the Discord. Mainly me talking about how much I'd like to go for a nice stroll with Anne Lister. That is true, but even still, don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.